First off, I'm a mind reader. I can read your mind. You're thinking, what's this guy know about women's problems? Or does he look like he's had women's problems himself? Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely regret that I have been involved in far too many women's problems because I promoted that intrauterine device, the Dalcon Shield, which harmed many women. You see, in 1970, I was working for A.H. Robbins Company. And by 1971, what I was doing with them was I was talking to doctors about pharmaceutical and biological products. Then in 1971, they introduced the intrauterine device, Dalcon Shield, and it was my job to promote it. Well, that's when the problem started. For example, 1972, 25-year-old Diane Briggs of Riverside, California, asked for birth control. Her doctor, after hearing all the exciting news and the promotion, inserted the Dalcon Shield. It was only a few months later that she had a medical nightmare, a chronic pelvic infection, which required a hysterectomy. Diane tearfully said, "They took everything out." Yet the company still promoted it because it was a huge money maker for both the company and the doctors that inserted it. 200,000 women made a claim or lawsuit because of such things as septicemia, pregnancy, miscarriage, stillbirth, and at least 20 women died. Then it was discovered a defect in the design, and that defect was the string, because it was made of small filaments in a nylon sleeve, which in turn wicked bacteria up into the sterile uterus and, of course, infections. Well, I was promoting it in Northwest DC, and I was in a medical building on Pennsylvania Avenue. And one day, old Dr. Johnson followed me down the hall, and he said, "Son, you better watch what you're telling these doctors because we're having some problems." Naturally, I reported these complaints to my bosses. They didn't want to hear it because they were making so much money, the company and everybody involved. They gave me the stock answer, and that was, "Will your conscience pay your salary?" I was under pressure. There I was, wife, 2 small daughters. What would I do? Then the real pressure came when lawyers in the evening would call me up at home and ask me, "What did you tell this doctor or this doctor?" Well, that put an end to my 12-year pharmaceutical career. I was labeled negative, not a company man, so I ended up self-employed ever since. Well, the company A.H. Robbins, after millions of dollars in punitive damage, declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And they were bought out by American Home Products, now Wyeth. Since that time, I have still regretted it every day that I was involved in such a mess. And I have observed the pharma medical complex. And I can tell you, don't believe those medical advertisements on TV. In fact, my personal opinion is that we will not have a cure for cancer in this country until we find a cure for greed.